Sensorimotor OCD wants you to fixate on trying to do things perfectly, to come up with the perfect plan of recovery, to do your breathing or your blinking in just the right way. Because once you're doing it correctly again, you're going to feel better again. And this is obviously kind of a big part of the problem with sensorimotor OCD. We really want to try to let go of thinking about it in that way. When we're thinking about how do I do it perfectly? How do I swallow just right? Or how do I blink correctly? Already what we're doing is we're giving it too much power. And equally, if you're trying to think about things that you can do that distract you from the sensorimotor OCD, like if I'm kind of paying attention to somebody, well, I'm going to look at their nose as I'm speaking to them, and that's going to help me to kind of distract myself away from the mouth, for example, and swallowing. Or I'm going to really pay attention to what that person's wearing and really notice their hair and their facial expressions. Already you're kind of drawing your attention more into the sensorimotor OCD because you're having to do all of these kind of contrived and bizarre things in order to try to kind of make yourself feel normal, to make yourself kind of come into the present and pay attention. And inadvertently, that can draw your attention more to the OCD and to the sensorimotor awareness. As much as possible, really what you want to do is to try to let go of doing anything other than you would be doing normally in that situation. Really what you want to ask yourself is, if I wasn't struggling with sensorimotor OCD now, the awareness, the frustration of that, all of the stuff that comes with that resistance, that anger, why is it here today? It's so annoying. I don't want it to be here. It's so easy to get caught up in that mindset. And then we start kind of, trying to do all of these these kind of tools and techniques to bring our attention away from it. And inadvertently, we just become more and more aware of it and then more and more annoyed. And it's such an annoying pattern to find yourself in. So if instead you ask yourself, what would I actually be doing normally if I wasn't so caught up in the sensorimotor OCD? If you're resonating with this, I do now have a 12-week program to help you to break free from sensorimotor OCD. It's based upon my own personal experiences of struggling with sensorimotor for many, many years, and also now having helped many people to overcome it. If you're interested in applying for that, you can by heading over to my website at robertjamescoaching.com and booking in there for a free discovery call. The trick is then to just start acting as if you're actually feeling the way in which you want to feel, to just do the things that you would do normally in that situation. And if at the same time there's still some awareness of the swallowing, of the blinking, of the heartbeat, whatever it is that you might be struggling with, then no problem. It's okay if you're still aware of those things. You don't need to get rid of them in order to be happy. But the important thing is that you just try to act normal. I think so often with sensorimotor OCD, we want to find the perfect solution, and that really does keep us stuck in the trap. And so if you can begin to let go of that and just think about how would I act normally and just do your best to kind of do that, it makes things much more simple. Now, I'm not saying that kind of mindfulness techniques like, grounding in your body or kind of, noticing somebody and how they look aren't helpful. You can do those things a little bit here and there, but I think sometimes we get so fixated on doing things like that we're just really hyper-focused. Right, I'm going to keep paying attention to that person's face. I'm going to really notice what they're wearing, their clothes. And actually what you're stopping yourself from doing when you do that too much is, you're kind of stopping yourself from acting normal. You're stopping yourself from coming back into the present. So whilst those tools can be helpful for a short time, 10, 15 seconds just to help ground you and anchor you in the moment. Yeah, great. If you do it for 10 or 15 seconds, little mindfulness techniques like that might be beneficial. But then you want to let it go and you want to practice just coming back to the present moment as best you can. Try to be more involved in the moment if you can. If you're with somebody, well, be more active in that conversation. Kind of pretend to be more interested perhaps than you are, put more energy into the conversation. All of these things, typically what they do is they allow us to come more into the present moment. And often we begin to get into a bit more of a flow state. When we're caught up in sensorimotor OCD, we're in anything but a flow state. Actually, we come out of the present, we're stuck in our heads, we're getting infuriated with the awareness. And really what we need to learn to do is to let go. And, a big part of letting go is actually just coming back to the present and doing your best to act as if you're feeling the way in which you want to feel already. So I really hope that you found that helpful. Remember, I do now have a 12-week program for sensorimotor OCD. If you're interested in applying for that, you can by heading over to my website, robertjamescoaching.com, and you can book in there for a free discovery call. Many thanks, and I will see you next time. This video is for education only. It's not therapy or medical advice. If you're struggling, please speak with a licensed mental health professional.